Of the many different inyanim, ideas, concepts that the Beis Hamikdash reflected, so one of those is from HaKadoshim tell us is the midah of malchus, of kingship, malchus Hashem. And the tzaddikim taught that the faculty of speech, dibor, is synonymous with malchus. On a very basic level, that the explanation is because obviously a king enacts decrees, right, with his mouth. It's al pi hamelach, it's by the word of the king, malchus peh. So the concept of dibor is very important during this time of the 3 weeks leading up to Tisha B'Av, specifically because you know that the second Beis Hamikdash was destroyed because of sinas chinam, and lashon hara obviously is a great factor in sinas chinam. The concept of dibor is very important, and the parsha of Matos, the first of this week's double parsha, is always read during the 3 weeks. And Parshas Matos discusses the laws of nedarim, of vows, and one of the things that the Torah tells us is lo yachil devaray. A person should not profane his speech, should not go against that which he made a vow to do. And the pasuk ends, Gechol hayotze mipi v'ya'aseh. According to that which comes out of his mouth, he should do. So the Kedushas Levi, the Berditchever, Zechusi Yagan Lenu, and many other tzaddikim as well explain that this pasuk can be read as follows. Lo yachil devaray. A person should not profane his speech. A person should recognize the power that he has within his speech, in the words that he says, the koyach that he has. And when a person can utilize that his speech properly, then kechol hayotze mipiv, anything that he says, ya'aseh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will make sure it happens. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take care of. What that means is, the Nefesh HaChaim and many others as well explain to us the power that we have in our speech, in our thoughts, but even all the more so in our speech. The very essence of what it means to be a Jew is the faculty of speech. We know that when Adam HaRishon was created, so the Torah tells us, Vayipach ba'apav nishmas chaim, because Baruch Hu blew into his nostrils the breath of life. Vayhi adam lenefesh chaya, he became a living spirit. So Targum Onkelos, on those words, lenefesh chaya, he translates them, a living spirit, as ruach memalala, as a speaking spirit. The very essence of who we are as Jews is our faculty of speech, our ability to communicate, to make brachos, to daven, and to learn arguably the two most central mitzvos in Yiddishkeit, learning and davening, are done with the mouth. So much of what we do in Avodas Hashem utilizes our speech, making brachos, davening, learning. We make a bracha on almost everything that we do. And almost every experience that we have with Hashem, we're engaging our faculty of speech. Part of this time of the 3 weeks, it's so important for us not to dwell on the bad and what we said wrong or what we shouldn't have said or what we could have said differently, but to focus on the good. But it's the way to get out of the rut, the way to get out of the negativity, the way to move past anything that we may have done wrong is to focus on the good, is to put it behind you and move weiter, move forward. The Chedush HaRim, he famously taught, Sor Meirav Va'aseh Tov, that the way to Sor Meirah is to Va'aseh Tov. The way to turn away from bad, to get out of the negativity, is not to focus on it, it's just to do good. So, rather than dwelling on sinas chinam, or the mistakes that we've been making, or all the things that have been wrong with us for the last 2,500 years, part of the tikkun, part of the rectification, part of the process of building, of getting out of the current situation, is by focusing on the good. And there is so much good that we have within ourselves, and there's so much good to be done yet with the way that we speak, specifically, with our dibor. We have such a koach to literally change our circumstances. You could literally change the world with the words that you say. Not always in a way that's readily apparent to us, but we could literally change circumstances. We've seen how many times there are stories of people davening for someone who's in a bad situation, who's low, sick. Our koach of dibor, of speech, is incredible. It's beyond. And in fact, the Sfarim teach us that the Arizal writes that the journey from Mitzrayim to Eretz Yisrael through the Midbar, which is the same letters as Medaber, as speaking, was a rectification of our faculty of speech. Eretz Yisrael, the Kabbalist taught, is also synonymous with Malchus, with kingship. And therefore, on the journey there, it was necessary that we rectify our faculty of speech, which is why, without going too into it, the whole Chag of Pesach, of Yetzias Mitzrayim, revolves around speech. Pesach, the result is Pesach. It's a mouth which speaks. The most central mitzvah of Pesach is saying over the Haggadah, which obviously is the only time we have a mitzvah on the Shalosh Regalim, which involves our mouth, just speaking. Paro is the letters of Perah. Moshe was Chvad Per Chvad Lashon. So we see this theme throughout the entire story of Mitzrayim and Yetzias Mitzrayim, and the journey in the Midbar. Am Yisrael complaining of going through all the difficulties that they had. It was a time of rectification, of recognizing and utilizing their faculty of speech properly. So Hashem should bless each and every one of us that during this time of the 3 weeks, during this time leading up to Tisha B'Av, that we recognize how much of a power we have, how much of a strength we have in our tefillos, to change our circumstances. That if we feel like we're not in the best place, we're not doing the best things, or that we want to change, our koach of tefillah, of dibor, bichlal, of speaking, of davening, is so far beyond anything that we could possibly imagine. And when we can begin to recognize that, so Kadosh Baruch Hu will take care of the rest. So Hashem should bless each and every one of us to utilize our faculties of dibur, our faculty of speech for the best, to bring simcha and blessing and bracha into our lives, into the lives of our fellow Jews through our speech. And Emet Hashem, witness the Malchus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu be restored. Amen. Have a beautiful Shabbos.